Hello, and welcome to Oh, for the Love of Art, where, well, do you like art? Do you like talking about art? Join us. We'd love to have you. This episode is the continuation of the conversation we started in the last episode. So if you have not listened to the first part of our conversation with Marlita, go ahead and go back to the episode before and enjoy. Okay, so this has been a lot about speaking to the journey and speaking to maybe young artists and whatnot. Can you let's dive into a little bit of what you're doing now, and maybe what you're thinking for your future.
Yes. So what I'm doing now is honestly, basically what I've been doing. I'm still teaching, but I have created ways to do that. So one of the things for me was how do I want to work, right? What does that look like to give me that time and flexibility that I desire? One, to do my art. Two, to be there for my family, because I'm single. I don't have any kids. I'm not married. But my family is, my grandparents are here. They're getting older. My mom, I live with her now kind of as a support. I'm not really her caregiver, but I just kind of support her and help her out around the house and take her to her appointments and things like that. So at this point in life, I'll be 47 on August 18th. So I'm thinking about different things. How do I want to work so that I can be who I want to be for my family, so that I can be this artist that I want to be, the way that I want to work? I've realized that project-based work works really well for me. I thrive when there is a start date and an end date.
You like the deadlines, huh?
I like the deadlines. I'm excited, and then I want to know when this is going to end, right? So that I know how to manage my energy. I found that works best for me. So in that, I these books and created different programs, workshops, that kind of thing, because again, I'm a teacher. I like teaching. I like of helping other people through a journey or process. And I've figured out the areas that I want to do that in. I've done a lot of work to figure out what that looks like for me, the particular way I'm going to do that. I feel like I just finally figured out what that looks like for me in the last year or so.
Wow.
It was a lot of trial and error and learning and figure it out.
Can you speak to some of those things, like what you do right now?
Yes. So for instance, working one-on-one with clients, right? So I have a workbook called Nail That Niche, which is helping people who want to build a business or learn more about the work that they want to do. Well, there were a lot of considerations. Do I just want it to be in the workbook? Am I trying to do one-on-one coaching as a group coaching? Do I want to do that online? Is it in person? Do I want this to be a print book, a digital book, a book and coaching sessions? Like all of these kind of logistical things. What technology am I going to use? I tried different platforms and just a lot of logistical I had to work through. Do I want to do a membership? No, because I don't want to have to create things all the time. But then I learned that there's another way I could do a membership. Like I could do almost like an office hours membership. All I have to do is show up and answer questions. That I love to do. I don't want to make new content all the time, but if I could just show up and answer questions, I could do that.
How do you do that?
Pay for that?
How do you do that? Like through what service?
How did I find out about it, or how did I actually do it?
Well, do you do it like just kind of by word of mouth and you say, hey, I'm going to be on this chat room at this point, and if anyone wants to come, or
I would set it up. That's something that I am planning to do in the new year. I'm not quite ready for that.
That is a very good idea.
Yeah, but that's the way in my research that I was like, okay, that's what I want to move towards. I spent a year getting support and help to help me think through some things. The biggest thing, I thought I was needing help for putting systems in place, but she really helped me with my programming. How do I work with people? What does it look like for them to go through my program or services? So it was very helpful to have somebody help me with that. In what areas? Who do I want to speak to? Working through and clarify. I also do partnerships with organizations. So I speak. I just got back I was in England for 2 weeks and I taught at a conference there. And so I do stuff like that. I also work with an organization called Link, which provides entrepreneurship services. So I'm a facilitator for them. They had an 8-week accelerator and now we're in an 8-month builder. So I'm a mentor there. One of the projects that I'm working on now for my own self is to create the one sheet. And basically it's a summary of your qualifications and your topics that you speak on, because I want to start approaching different organizations to ask, can I do workshops or can we do a partnership together? So those are the things that I'm involved in. Yesterday, I had a very brutal but wonderful conversation with a friend of mine who's in branding. He's a copywriter because I'm working on my website. And it was wonderful, but I have more work to do.
There's always work
to do. Yeah. But it was great. I've started walking again because I haven't been making work. I think the only thing that's really kept me in my dance practice the last few years is teaching.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually, my last work that I made was in October of 2024. So it's not that far, but I want to start making work again, but I've been sitting so much writing and doing work.
Right.
I started walking with this group so that I could get my body moving again, so that I can get myself together to fit in my body to start dancing.
Young people don't realize, I didn't realize until really the past 2 years or so, how your body changes. If you don't use it, you lose it. It's crazy. So don't take that for granted, young people.
I don't even know if I could jump right now. My ankles are all tight and my knees. So I was like, okay. So I joined this walking group, a great way to start. And I know once I start one thing, like motivates me to do other things. But sometimes I know that I'm a person who needs a break from the art sometimes to do all of my work centralized around the same 3 areas. So I'm not an architect or a landscaper, I'm a limo driver, an accountant, not scattered like that. All of my work is centralized around faith, art, and entrepreneurship. And I just work in those areas through different mediums. That's all. I'll make a course about it. I'll go teach a workshop about it, podcast about it. I'll write a book about it. But I'm orbiting around the same.
That's awesome. And it's probably taken you a long time to get to this point where you now know those are.
My God. Oh my God. It took me forever because I didn't have a me for me. That's that's one of the things that I help other people do.
Wait a minute, say that again?
I said I did not have a me for me.
A me for me or a need for me?
No, me, an M-E for M-E. Meaning that's one of the services that I provide for my clients is I help them get clear about the work that they're doing. But I didn't have that when I was asking those questions.
Mm-hmm. And so that, oh, yeah. See, that's huge. And I'm wondering if that's even when you're young and you're just starting out and you're not even sure what you want to do. I don't know if that's even possible, but it's so freeing once you do get to that point where you step back, you look at your life and you're like, okay, what is important to me? What do I want to do? What are my strengths? Let's make a plan. That was my other thought is, do you agree with that? And do you think being organized is something that's important? I don't know if that's a great question to ask because we all need to have organization, at least of some kind, to be successful. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't make, no, I didn't cut you up. I was going to say the word organized is hilarious because my room is a disaster. I do think that, yes, for me, there was a point in time where I had 4 different websites. It was crazy. I felt all over the place. And so I intentionally spent several years working through trying to get my mind organized for my own self because it was like I would go places. It's like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, well, okay, so I kind of like, well, okay, so if you kind okay, it's you know that where you stumble over your words, you just can't seem.
And you look at the art side of yourself and you might not even know what you're doing or what you want to do, but you also think that hecticness and that craziness, that's what gives you your edge, especially for us artists, right? We're like, that's what's good. But I think when we, like you said, you had 4 websites. Okay.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Okay, I've got to limit myself to just one. That might feel like you're cutting yourself off at the knees and I'm limiting myself. What if one of those 3 is something that I really love or that is going to take off? But I would postulate that if you do that and you go to just that one website, or you do things to clear your mind and help you settle down and try to get focused on what is what, that will in the long run help you figure that chaotic energy of all these things that you're interested in. Even if one of those things that you cut out was something that you're great at or would love, cutting it out will make you realize that.
Here's the thing about that, and this is something that I speak to is so a lot of times when people are multi-passionate, they confuse that with the kind of work that I want to do. So I specifically work with entrepreneurs, right? Whether they're artists, authors, or a traditional business, all of those are entrepreneurial endeavors, whether you want to admit it or not. All of you are in entrepreneurship. And so there's a difference between this is something that I like to do versus this is what I want to build a life in or build a business in. I love salsa dancing. Love it. I love choreography. I write about it, talk about it, do it, teach it. But I'm not trying to build a business around those interests and loves, right? So when people say I'm multi-passionate, the first thing I say is, okay, wait a minute. What are things that you're just super interested in? And what are things that you're trying to actually move forward and build infrastructure around? Those are 2 completely different things. The other thing for me is I found out I am not multi-passionate. And that was huge for me. I'm not multi-passionate. I have one passion, and my passion is for people to have clarity about what they're doing so they can build their own path in doing it and feel empowered in doing that. That's my one passion. And I engage in that passion through a lot of different ways. I do it through podcasting, through teaching, through speaking, through writing books. I do it for different audiences, for artists and authors and entrepreneurs. I do it in different fields, but there's only one thing that I'm passionate about. And being able to organize, because we were talking about organization, being able to organize myself in that way was transformative because I didn't have to cut off any part of myself. I show up the same way no matter who I'm working with. And I'm helping you answer the same question. What am I building? Whether that's what book am I writing? What business am I building? What relationship between my faith and art am I trying to build? Right? What kind of life do I want to build with these multiple interests? No matter what that is, I show up the same way. I'm walking you through a process to help you find clarity about what you really want and what you're building.
Because you're doing your passion when you're doing that.
Yes. And so being able to organize myself in that way, knew how to move forward. So even my website anybody who's known me for a long time, they tease me and they said, on your tombstone, we're going to put, I'm working on my website. Girl, that's amazing. It's been like 20 years. And I said I was going to write an essay about that because I feel like my website has been kind of the lab or backdrop for me to work through a lot of the more existential parts of my who am I? How do I want to show up? What is my work like? You got to know this stuff to put it on a website. I got to know how to even organize. So I went from those 4 websites and I said, okay, I want one. I want one website. This is Marlita Hill. And so it took me a couple of years to work through how do I want to organize that, right? So now I'm like, okay, I'm Marlita Hill. I'm an author, an artist, and an educator, right? That's what I do. And I serve these kinds of people and I serve them through these 2 programs. So I finally landed on a way to organize myself so that I could just be myself, right? And know how to explain myself to other people. But that took some time, again, because I didn't have a me for me or a person like me for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, organization has been liberating, even if it was just being able to liberate myself. Because people told me the same thing. Oh, you got to pick one. You got to pick one. And for me, I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I could, but I didn't feel it was necessary. I just needed to figure out a way to do it that would work.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I want to go back to something you said without even really saying it. That's something that I've been learning, and maybe it's no duh, maybe it's profound, is that I feel like a lot of people, especially in the arts, probably think, okay, what is my product? What am I producing? That's what we got to sell. And in my case, paintings on a canvas or whatever. But what I think I'm learning, what I think you just spoke to, is that maybe what we should be focusing on is, who are you? What perspective, what talents, what products can you bring to the table? And then from that, from who you are, that's what you determine what you're actually going to sell or what you're going to provide. Because I think a lot of us are maybe going at it backwards. We're thinking, oh, I want to produce that, so let's work towards that. And that's not necessarily wrong, but maybe a better way to think about it is, what type of a person am I? What can I do with what type of person I am and my interest and everything? And out of that's going to become a product that people are going to want and need. Because if we shoot just for a product, oh, I want to make a great painting, that's all well and good, and we can work towards that, and we can do tutorials and do this and that and try to get there. But I think you first got to realize, who are you? What inspires you as an artist? What type of value do you want to bring to this world, to people, that guide your artwork into something that is probably going to speak to people more than if you just said, oh, I want to attain that end product. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think that what you just said is a duh, and it is very profound, and it is something that I have only learned in the last few years. I think that going for the product first is a way to do it, but the more lasting, more fulfilling, more impactful path is to go out of the second one.
And it's hard because
it's hard.
you're not going to know how to get there either, necessarily. We just want to know the product. We want to know, okay, what do I need to do? I want to be successful. What do I do? But there's no way to tell you that necessarily. You just got to try things. You got to follow your heart in a way. You need to follow, okay, what is inside of me? What makes me come alive? And then do those. There's a quote that has touched my heart for many years since I first heard it when I was in my early 20s. And I read the book Wild at Heart. It has this quote, which I think it quoted from someone else. I don't remember who the original person was that said, "Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive." Because what the world needs is people that have come alive. And I think that's so true. That was so freeing for me at the time. It's still something that I think we're all learning, but that just speaks to that whole thing, I think, of seeing who you are, what makes you come alive, and out of that is going to come the good stuff.
And I can look back and say that is what my path has been. I did not know that's what I was doing
Right.
until I looked back, until I gained some more knowledge and experience and information.
Mm.
But then once I realized it, then I began to intentionally do that. But for instance, all of my books, all of my courses, those kinds of things have all come from an autobiographical place.
Right.
They were things that I have lived, I have gone through, and was like, this, I've seen other people struggling with this, being audacious enough to share,
Yeah.
being patient enough. I've keep copious notes of my own process and my own thoughts. And I go, okay, what could we do with this?
And that's such a great thing that you have that balance of recognizing that that has value, while at the same time, you're still a humble person and you're not like, oh, I know everything and oh, let me teach you about this. That's not the way you're coming from.
My thing is like, let me save you from some pain.
Right. Let me help you try to figure some of the stuff out that maybe make it easier than what I had to go through.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know everything, but I do know if you ask these questions and answer them, you're going to have a much better journey. No, I think what you said, I think that is powerful. Simon Sinek, it's so interesting because I've had a little internal argument with him. Simon Sinek, his popular book, Start With. And I'm like, start with what? Right? Start with what and who?
Can you explain that a little more? What does he mean? And then what do you mean?
His thing is basically if you know the why that you're doing something will lead you and ground you. I'm grossly trying to explain it very inadequately, but essentially I think that's his premise is answering why you're doing something is pretty foundational. But I'm like, no, you got to start. Why doesn't matter if you don't know what? And what you're saying, which is powerful, is even the what comes after who. Like, who am I? And because of who I am, what is it that I want to do? How do I want to take space? And then those other questions come. Yeah. Yeah, that's a way to build a more enduring, enjoyable,
Well, I think
to go from the product.
And I guess they're all important. And I guess all three of those things are important and probably at different points. And yes, another thing is life experience. We're coming from being past 40. And when you're 20s, early 20s, you don't really necessarily know who exactly you are. Or should I say, you don't think you do. And the thing is,
Just found out.
right. But I would postulate that even no matter what age you are, you really kind of do know who you are. Because you don't really change that much. You do change, but you don't. The core, I think, of who you are and what you value, I think is it's so interesting having kids and thinking about that now. Is when does that develop, or is it just born with you in a way? Some of it, but I don't know. I don't know if. I guess it's just the trying. It's just for a young 20-something, just try. Try to think about who you are at the core, what makes you come alive, and also just try other things.
I love the word try because these were things that I didn't just sit and think about and then they came. These are things that were revealed through the course of friction of experience. These are things that I discovered because I tried a move, didn't work, or I tried something and it worked. Like the friction of life bumping up against your movement, almost like a diamond kind of sloughs off things, and then parts of you are revealed. But if you don't move,
No. And that was, I would say, that was some of the things that I did wrong in growing up, is that I thought about things probably too much and let myself get kind of bogged down in that and let myself not move, not just try. Just go, the act of moving towards something does something. Yeah, a lot, like you said.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like it's good to plan and think through things, definitely do that. But then there's a place where the sitting and planning can no longer provide adequate answers. Sometimes you got to take a step into the void, that the answer will come as you move.
Me, maybe I wouldn't even know when that moment is. When do you need to get up off your seat and move? And that's the thing. Sometimes it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You do want to be smart. You do want to think about, you might want to plan something, but a lot of the times I feel like I wanted to have a play-by-play book. I wanted someone to tell me what to do. I wanted to know, make this step, and then this will happen or whatever.
Well, because there's security in that. You think if you have that, then you're guaranteed to be able to avoid failure and pain. And that is not true.
That's not life. Life is messy. So
It is.
you might as well just get out there and make a mess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or try things.
It's wonderfully messy, but it's messy. But those are the things that build you into who you are. When I was talking to my friend yesterday, he was like, yeah, Marlita, there are different people who talk about the same thing that you do. He said, but your unique mix of, you're a choreographer, you do this, you do that. So that specific mixture makes your insights specific and unique. Your life experiences that you've had that you bring to it. So yeah, that friction that I talked about earlier is not only a part of revealing who you are, but also a part of shaping who you are.
Yeah.
And you don't want to just, like we've said, you don't want to haphazardly put yourself in danger,
Right.
or put yourself in bad situations or positions just to get experience. There's a lot of things I was like, I'm glad to have learned that by looking at your mistakes.
Yeah. Right. No, absolutely. And that movement might come from a place, you might need a nudge too from someone. I think about my wife. My wife is great. And because of her, if not her directly, I have made choices in my life that I wouldn't have probably made at the time. Not because it was bad or good, but just I'm the type of person that will think about something for so long and too long when I should just act. And she has helped me to sometimes just act. And that is a great thing. So you might need someone to bounce something off of and be like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think?
You will absolutely need someone. I regularly practice accountability. Sometimes I have different groups of people for different things, but I have regular meetups, regular connection with people who I can soundboard and run things by. I have groups of friends who hold me accountable when I'm tripping, and they're like, girl, you tripping.
Yeah.
You need to stop. You've been talking about this for too long. It's time to move. I need it by Friday. Give it to me by Friday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That community is so huge. I don't know how you can do it without community, even if you're in an art form that is more of an isolated art form, like a visual artist or that kind of thing.
Right.
Having that community to keep you accountable, to encourage you, to check you when your thoughts are running wild, because sometimes it happens before you even know it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But I encourage that. Even my walking. I know I need to exercise, but I just could not get my butt off the bed myself. So I went and joined a group, because having somebody say, "Are we going to see you on Monday?" You know, that and me having given my word to somebody, that's enough to get me up off the couch.
Right. It's much easier to say no to yourself than to someone else. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff. Maybe let's try to kind of wrap it up a little bit, but I was thinking about one biggest thing is what is the biggest thing? Okay. So your artwork is choreography, but your work is really in entrepreneurship and coaching and teaching. Okay. So maybe not necessarily your art, but in all things. And although I kind of consider all that stuff as creative. And so
It is all
it's all art. Like there's a lot of things in my mind that are art. It might not be what people consider art, but I do. So what is what inspires you in your art? I guess you could say in your life too, but maybe it's for the purpose of this podcast. What inspires you to continue in the work that you do? And I mean, like, is it like a music? Is it a certain song? Is it, what do you do that kind of helps you when you're kind of feeling burned out a little bit or whatever? What kind of helps you write that compass?
Oh, I'm glad you said that because I would have went a completely different direction. What gets me up and going? Relationships, connecting with people.
Just anyone or people in the arts too that are going through some of the same things you are, or?
I have my different circles. I know if I need this, I call this friend. I know if I need that, I need to go, right? Sometimes you know where you need to go. But when I was younger, I would have said something like music. I love music. I think music is what inspires me specifically as a choreographer. But in general, relationships. I'm a huge connection person.
And then okay, so I guess I'm thinking about for myself when I'm painting, what helps me get to that, I don't know how else to put it except for maybe that plateau, that area, that headspace where I feel like if I'm not doing my best work, I'm the happiest. I feel like I'm doing what I was made to do. I listen to music. And there's music for me. There's certain type of music that helps me get to that position. So I guess, in that case, what's that for you?
That's music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hands down.
What type of music do you lean towards these days?
I am all types.
Yeah.
Because I never know what's gonna inspire me because I just like music.
Okay, I agree. I have the same mind where I can listen to a lot of different things. I like a lot of different things. And sometimes you need something that you're not used to pull you a certain direction and jerk you in a certain direction. But what do you listen to these days? Marlita Hill, when you sit down and you need to do your thing, what do you love right now?
I've been listening to a lot of salsa.
Okay.
I like the horns and the singing and the rhythms and
That's the passion that.
Yes, it's very motivating, animating.
Is there a certain artist?
No, I'm just learning other artists I just have my little Spotify list and I let them go and I build it and I am determined to be fluent in Spanish. And I was like, ooh, that could be one of the ways is I learned the words of salsa songs.
Yeah, there you go, sir. Oh, that's awesome.
But I also love jazz, right? So
I do too.
Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of jazz and a lot of salsa.
Who are your favorite artists in jazz, or do you have any?
Yusuf Days is somebody that I've fallen in love with. He's a drummer. And I think I'm saying his name correctly. Christian Scott is somebody I love. Robert Glasper. Those kinds of people.
Okay.
Those are the three I have on my Pandora. They are my list. Robert Glasper, Christian Scott, Days. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now going the opposite way. For people out there, to humanize you, what is one of the biggest struggles that you struggle with even these days? Maybe on a daily basis, maybe just, I don't know, here and there.
Keeping my room clean. I think trying to organize my time at the moment. I had that on lock. I did. I was like, okay, I have this. But I'm 47, so changing body, which means changing energy. I'm dealing with fatigue a lot more. I have ever been. I find I need a lot more recovery time for certain things. Even people, as much as I love being around people, I'm good, and then I'll need a day or two to recover. Yeah, those are the types of things. It's also been a little hard to get into the headspace to write. I watch way too much YouTube. It's a problem. But I have so many decisions to make all the time in the work that I do. I find just the numb, mindless scrolling,
Yeah.
unfortunately, is a reprieve.
Yeah.
But I love reading, but then reading makes me think, and then thinking makes me want to write, and then right. So that's not restful.
Right.
Before it was like I was watching Disney movies because I just needed to just let my mind numb out from the responsibility to relax.
Yeah.
So many decisions that I had to make.
Right.
So yeah, those are the things I'm dealing with. And I'm out of shape. So I gotta get but I think I found a solution to that. I started walking.
Yeah. Yeah. See? Making those steps, not just staying in one place. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about inspiration, some opportunities for growth. Now, lastly, I mean, we've dove into this a lot. So we've covered a lot of the ground. But I guess, I don't know, if you could, I know this might be hard, but if you could give one piece of advice to artists out there, and you can pick if it has to be like an early on in their career or late or whatever. If you could give one big piece of advice, what would that one for people out there?
One piece of advice.
Something big in your mind.
Yeah.
That is key.
Yeah. Open yourself to the possibilities of how you build your life in art. You have to. Even the traditional ways are shifting and changing before our eyes. And so again, I think that anything you can think of is possible, but you have to be open to the possibilities for bringing that about. And it may not be the way you thought it would be. It might take a little more time than you thought. It might not come through the doors you thought or through the people that you saw. And so the more open you can be about how these things happen, the more open that you can be about how these things happen, and the more realistic it is for you to happen.
I think that's great. Yeah. Whether you're early on in your career or you've been doing it for a while. Yeah. We can tend to get stuck.
Yeah.
And
yeah, like it has to happen this way, through this company, through that person, through this door.
I really want it to look this way.
Yeah.
Well, it might not.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, hey, thank you very much. I think this has been great. I don't want to keep you anymore, though.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I really appreciate you being willing to be one of our inaugural episodes. I think we went over some great things, and I think your experience and your expertise in speaking into our lives. If you would like to find out more about Marlita and her work, you can visit marlitahill.com. Oh, for the Love of Art with Sam Bishop, produced by Sam Bishop. Theme music and incidental music by Arct Music. To find out more, go to sambishopworks.com. If you like what you heard today, please like and subscribe and share us. Thank you for joining us.